Welcome back for this summary of the session that we did in last few sections. As you know, we started with the idea of Monte Carlo simulation in this week, and we understood that Monte Carlo simulation is essentially allows you to not calculate not have to calculate the equation of motion, but at the same time use the sampling distribution in order to understand the configurations that are very useful to get to the thermodynamic property. So, we can still do ensemble average, but we are doing ensemble average on the configuration of the atoms at different position, which we acquire from the randomization of position of the atoms. And that is very important, because by just doing randomization of positions, we are able to create the ensemble average, and then we understand that only certain configuration is allowed, and that is what Metropolis did, and that is why he is given credit for Metropolis Monte Carlo method, which is now very popular in various fields. And this comes from computational arena. So, condensed matter physics, statistical mechanics, lot of areas use that, and in molecular dynamics is used quite a bit in order to understand the equilibrium configurations. It is almost like a energy minimization method that allows you to go to the minima of the potential energy to find what are the stable configurations that are possible. And this is where it becomes a starting point for molecular dynamics simulations to start. You come up with the equilibrium configuration, then you do the molecular dynamic simulation. Monte Carlo in some cases can be as good as MD, as long as you are looking at equilibrium properties, and to some extent the dynamic properties as well. However, molecular dynamics give you a lot more information on the dynamic properties. Then we looked at a very big area, and I am sure that we can talk hours and hours about it, is interatomic potential functions. There is whole theory behind the potential energy function, because that is the center of all the molecular dynamic computational models. If you cannot describe an electronic or atomic interaction between atoms that you are trying to simulate accurately, then what we say in computation, garbage in, garbage out. So, number one thing you have to understand how good is the potential function model, and that is where we talked about Lennard-Jones function, which are semi-empirical. We talked about totally empirical functions. We also looked at pseudo potentials. We also looked at the potential which take care of directionalities, and then we also looked at some of the potential function that include some electronic component by for metals like embedded atom method potential, which also involves density functional approximation. So, with this understanding, we said, okay, we have two ideas here. One is bonded and unbonded part of the potential, and also intra and inter potential. So, let us talk about bonded. So, when you have a molecule, there are certain number of atoms and they are connected together, and that is what formulates a bonded potential, and that could be valence bond, it could be electronic bond or hydrogen bond, or any kind of chemical bond that you are created, that is creating certain affinity between atoms, and they will be together forming a molecule. That is called intramolecular interaction. So, inside the molecule. While if you look at that molecule is now interacting with another molecule, and they have if you look at the atom which is the heaviest atom in that essentially represent the what we call is center of mass for that molecule. So, there is the interaction between center of mass and center of mass together, and that is what we look at, and we call that as intermolecular interaction. So, from our understanding of bonded and unbonded, the intermolecular interaction between molecules and molecule with the center of mass, that is considered what we call as intermolecular, and we can still use Lennard-Jones potential, as well as we can use the point charge approximation using Born-Oppenheimer approximation, and then we can create electrostatic interaction, Coulomb type of interaction, which is important for unbonded part. But for the bonded part, we looked at bond stretching, bond bending, and bond rotation. Those are the three, and then there could be a combination of those interactions as well, and that is where we looked at water molecule. Water molecule being the abundantly available material across the world, HOH, and we wanted to make sure that the parameters are one for intra and then there are one for inter. So, for intermolecular the center of mass becomes oxygen. So, for oxygen oxygen interaction you can use Lennard-Jones kind of potential, and then for and you can also use oxygen oxygen for the electrostatic interaction as well. But then for intra, where you are putting partial charges on hydrogen and also in oxygen, and positive 0.81, negative minus 0.41, and looking at the hydrogen and oxygen atoms and their charge positioning, whether it is positive or negative depends on whether you are looking at hydrogen or oxygen. So, with that kind of charge distribution we come up with the point charge model, and that point charge model is what was defined by Toucan and Rahman, which we looked at in detail. And now we also looked at VMDL simulation of a simple water molecule and understood how the bonds form, hydrogen bonds form between two oxygen atoms, and that is what creates the hexagonal shape of the water molecules connected together in hexagonal packed HCP, hexagonal closed packed lattice structure for the ice crystals. So, this is where then we looked at that in VMDL, and then later on we also want to talk about some of the potential which are directional, especially with the idea of silicon, and silicon being another abundant material available throughout the world and also very important in terms of Silicon Valley and also the various kind of semiconductor physics. We looked at Stillinger-Weber potential, where they came up with Vij, the pair part, and also Vijk, where now you can look at the angle between silicon and two oxygen atom SiO2. So, we are looking at this SiO2 engine there and looking at what kind of interaction can happen, and that is where we looked at that the experimental number for Stillinger-Weber potential we are pretty close in some cases, and reasonably provided description of silicon atom. And that is not only the potential available, there are about I would say 10 or 12 potential that I know on silicon, Tursoff potential being one, and there are a whole bunch of potential that are created around the silicon tetrahedral structure. So, it depends on various parameters like lattice parameter, the structure of tetrahedral coordination between angles, between the atoms that are put in the unit cell, and that is where the whole physics lies behind. And in case of the potential function, there is lot of physics, because lot of experimental quantities are measured and then they are fit with certain functional relationship, and that could be intra and inter, or it could be pair, or it could be 3 atoms at a time. We can look at all these kind of situations, and that is where with the right kind of formulation and empirical data collected by experiment, you have a now very nicely defined potential function. There are lots of issues there as well, and if you look at one of the issues are difficult problem, because potentially highly dimensional function, especially in case of Stillinger-Weber. Data fitting for the relevant system, you need to simulate with similar densities and local environment. So, data has to connect with the right kind of properties. And if you look at use other experiment to test potential, if possible you need to look at that, and do quantum chemical SCF and DFT calculation of clusters. Be aware that these may not be accurate enough. So, we are also looking at, can you also look at quantum ideas and see if the quantities that you are calculating like cohesive energy, repulsive forces, etc., and the bulk modulus, is that coming out right. No empirical potential works well in an inhomogeneous environment. So, we have to also look at if there is inhomogeneity in terms of different species of the material or different densities of material, then there is an issue there as well. And if you look at main problem is at atomic scale simulation, they really are only suggestive, since the potential may not be correct, and that is where their universality helps. So, if you look at none of these calculations are free of problems, but what we are looking with the molecular dynamics simulation is, can we capture the trends, physical trends that are observed when you do the phase transition, when you do different kinds of interaction in the complex system. Gives you a lot of insight, but you have to be always careful that it is a simulation, is only as good as the potential function that drives the center of force calculation between the particles. So, with that understanding, now you are ready to be a great molecular dynamist, and you now understand molecular dynamics, Monte Carlo simulation. You can go and talk to your potential employers, saying that I understand computational molecular dynamics, and I understand what are intricacies of it, what are potential functions, what are different thermodynamics, statistical mechanics. You have a lot to talk about. So, now let us join here, let us do our weekly assignments, and we will move forward with some of the remaining part of the course. Thank you.